Hello and welcome to Scratch Forum Replies. Today we have Vicky Y Nav, who says, "Hey guys, I'm new to script and I'm writing code to pop balloons. I'm having trouble with that. If anyone could help me out with an example code or give me some tips, that'd be great. Thanks." So Vicky probably wants to start with creating a balloon, which luckily there's a sprite to do that. Let's put it in the middle. The simplest thing that you could do is have whatever event it is that you want to have the balloon pop. Let's say that it's when it's clicked, have that hide the balloon because it has to go away. And then the beginning of the program, have the balloon show so it's ready to be clicked on. But that doesn't really look like it's popping, it just kind of looks like it disappeared. So I think that one of the important things about getting this to pop, other than playing the pop sound, which you could add in over here. One of the important things would be to visually have the pieces of the balloon kind of flying off in all directions. So the simplest way to do that is probably try to create a sprite that looks like a piece of a balloon. And to do that, you could maybe create I'm back. Like I was saying, if we have a sprite that represents looks like a piece of a balloon and it kind of goes flying off in all directions, that might look a little bit better than just having the balloon disappear. We can take this sprite and try to make something that looks like a shard of a balloon. Usually want to move these to the center of the editing area, which is represented by this target here. That way when you position them with X and Y, they show up where you expect them to show up. This might be a little bit too small. Maybe make it look a little bit sharper. I don't know, something like that. We can card this shard. So when the balloon is popped, in order for it to send a message to the other sprites in your program, you can use this broadcast block, which is like kind of like one sprite is yelling something really loud and all the other sprites can hear it. So you could say pop. And then here, you don't need these. And when this one hears the balloon broadcasting pop, it can do something. One piece of balloon flying off is probably too few, so we need to make a bunch of copies of it. Make 10 copies or something like that. Then when each of those copies gets created, it receives this when I start as a clone event and it can run some code. So maybe you can have it go over to where the balloon is to start and turn, let's see, point in some random direction. This one's a 9 to 180, and then do something like move in that direction. And at the end, after it's finished flying off, you can run this delete this clone block, which will tell it to disappear. So one problem, now that the shards are flying off, there's a few problems. One of them is that they aren't all appearing at the same time. And I think the reason for that is this kind of subtle thing about Scratch, which is when you have a loop like this, there's certain blocks that when you run them in the loop, at the end of the loop, the loop will actually pause for potentially 1/30th of a second in order to draw things on the screen. I suspect that if you shift click the green flag and turn on turbo mode, that would actually it goes so quickly that you can't even see them. But it doesn't have that effect where it has to pause each time. So the way to work around that is you have to create a new block that's in this pink section down here called My Blocks, and let's call this create balloon fragments. The important thing about this is you have to say run without screen refresh, which says that this whatever code is in this block, which will put this loop in it, it'll run to the end without having to wait to redraw the screen. So this one block here now represents all of this code, the repeat loop and the create clone block. We'll do that when we receive pop and see if that helps. And it certainly looks like it did. That already looks a little bit better. And say the other thing that you should do is hide the original copy of the shard when the green flag is clicked and your program starts. But that will cause these clones to all also be hidden, so every time a clone starts, it will need to also show itself before it starts moving. You can change how this looks by playing around with these parameters. Maybe instead of moving 20 steps, you move only 10. Maybe instead of 10 shards, you would do 30. And actually a good trick for being able to figure out what these values should be is to create variables for them. So this 30 is representing the number of fragments. You could say number of fragments. I clicked for this sprite only, which makes this variable only usable within this one sprite. Usually if you can get away with doing that, it'll keep your code simpler as it gets bigger. When you double click this display here, it turns it into this selector that you can change interactively, and then you can drag the number of fragments expression into wherever you want to use it in your code, and it'll just take on whatever this value is. If we try 40, then there'll be more of them. And the other thing that I think it'll help to fine-tune this is here, when the sprite is clicked, we can have that repeat over and over again, like this, and then when it's done, we can then show it again. So you can see the balloon popping over and over again. Then as we adjust this, we should be able to see the changes happening interactively. Oh, the issue is that this loop is running so quickly and this balloon is yelling this pop message over and over again before the shards have had the time to finish flying off and deleting themselves. So if you change this to use broadcast and wait instead, then it'll wait until all the shards have finished flying off before continuing on. That'll be easier to tell what's going on. It's still going too fast to see what's going on. We can add in a wait. So you can play around with the number of shards. Instead of having them move always the same amount, you could play around with maybe having them move a random amount. You can do things like have the balloon fragments be affected by gravity, and you can watch the video I have on gravity to implement that, but hopefully this is enough to get you started. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and click the thumbs up button. Thanks for watching and see you next time.